What's going on, guys? Your boy Star back here today with another video, and there's been some recent news about when we could see the PS5's release date, and according to a new article it could be ways off, and this is coming from website Kotaku, and this piece is written by Jason Schreier, and I'll give a brief summary of what was said. um, sources close to Kotaku says that the PS5 is a ways away and may not arrive till 2020. Over the past month, Jason Schreier has spoken to a number of game developers across a variety of disciplines and studios about the next generation of consoles. Of those two people said they were directly familiar with plans for Sony's new console. Those two people told Jason Schreier that the next PlayStation is unlikely to release on 2019, let alone 2018, although they were careful to be clear that these plans are always shifting. Quote, on a multi-year project, a lot can happen to shift schedules both forward and backward. At some point, Sony's probably looked at every possible date. It's all about what they think is the best sweet spot in terms of hardware. A surprise move by Microsoft could trigger a change in plans. Most of the developers Jason Schreier spoke to via phone, email, and text said that they haven't heard anything about plans for a new PlayStation. Even employees at Sony's first party studios said that they've not yet been briefed on the existence of a PlayStation 5. People across all the disciplines, design, art, engineering, etc., at major studios working on games scheduled for 2019 and beyond have told Jason that if there is information about the PS5 at their companies, they they haven't heard about it, as well as the new Xbox. There is information about the PlayStation 5 floating around at both first party and third party companies, but it's far more limited than it would be if the console's release was imminent. Last week, an article from website Semi-Accurate alleged that a large number of PlayStation 5 dev kits had gone out to game makers. The article also speculated that the console could be out by the end of 2018. This article is behind a paywall. Quote, pricing is $1,000 for a year's worth of access, but Reset Era rounded up some of the details. For the PS5 to be out in 2018, according to a person familiar with Sony, it would already be in manufacturing. If that was the case, it would come as a big surprise to a lot of people making games for fall and beyond. PlayStation 5 development, if yeah, PlayStation 5 development kits are another question though. For anyone who doesn't know, a development kit is a proprietary piece of hardware that allows game makers to build and optimize games for a specific console. Usually comes with proprietary software too, such as a console's operating system and other debug features that allow developers more access to the hardware than they'd have with a retail device. It's possible to replicate a console's development environment by using software on a computer, and these days game engines like Unity and Unreal can facilitate that process, but in order to release games on the PlayStation, developers will ultimately need the tools and licenses provided by dev kits. These development kits are especially useful for debugging and preparing for certification, in which the process that Sony uses to test and approve of new games. The term of PS5 dev kits can be misleading and claim that they are available and could mean several things. A source familiar with Sony's console development referred to the processor and graphic card of the next console, saying super early dev kits are often PCs with a CPU and GPU. An early dev kit is a literal desktop tower. It doesn't look like anything. First dev kits are almost always that. They might have a custom motherboard or might literally be a PC. You want to get one or two of those out to a lead graphics programmer of a studio so they can see what's possible, start planning what they can do in their game based on that. That's early dev kit stuff. Before new consoles release, studios will typically work with multiple versions of development kits somebody who's high up at a major developer received proper PS4 dev kits when the PS4 was codenamed Orbis a year before its fall release in November 2013. Someone else who worked for a major game studio said they were working with PCs dressed up as dev kits 18 or 24 months before the PS4's release. The PS4 was built with PC architecture, allowing more flexibility. If this is true and early PS5 dev kits are available, that they are probably well hidden as with recent consoles. Sony had worked hard keeping them a secret sometimes, asking studios to lock them in rooms where only a select few had access to. What's more complicated is that the 2016 release of the PS4 Pro and the Xbox One X just came out in November 2017. The main talk from developers is that Sony's next console is indeed the PS5, but it's a ways away. Rumors surfaced from the Game Developers Conference in San Francisco last month that touted a 2020 release, which is a big possibility. Word from a few people in meetings between Sony and developers and reps for publishers dropped vague hints about a 2020 release, but when it comes to hardware, anything can change. And honestly, it kind of goes along with my prediction because it's absurd to think that a PS5 could come out this year. I think Sony would be pulling the trigger on that too early because the success of the PS4 and God of War just came out and it's already at a 94 on Metacritic. It's got a higher score than Horizon Zero Dawn does, which expectedly it would, because the name God of War carries a lot of weight, and a 2019 release could be off the mark, even with that, because you still got announced titles for the PS4: Death Stranding, Days Gone, Ghost of Tsushima, and many of other games that are scheduled to come out next year. Oh, and The Last of Us Part 2. How could I forget that? Uh, but there are many others games that are scheduled to come out next year for the PS4. Now, we don't know anything that's coming out for 2020 or 2021, but a while back I made a prediction that I think the PS5 could come out in 2021, maybe as late as 22, simply because if I'm Sony, I would want to milk this gen as long as I could. And if that was to happen by the time, now by 2023, uh the PS4 will be 10 years old. I don't think this gen is going to go on that long, but I do think I do think it has a definite possibility of coming out in 2021, because I think by that time it will be 8 years by that time that the PS4 has been out. But as we all know, the life cycle of a PS4 could be about as long as the life cycle of a PS2 or PS3 was, because even when the PS3 came out, it still had games coming out for it. And I think they halted production in like 2008 or 2009. And as far as the PS3 goes, they stopped making the console in 2016, and the PS4 had been out for, at the time, for 3 years. So I could see a possibility that you have the PS5 coming out in 2021 and the PS4 lasting at least by 2023 or 2025, the latest. But with that being said, guys, what do you guys think about this? Do you think that the PS5 is ways off? Do you think it's sooner than later? Let me know down in the comments below. We can have a discussion and talk about it. If you enjoyed my video, smash that like button as hard as you can. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. Tap the notification bell. That way you'll stay up to date on all my content. You'll never miss a video. And until next time, guys, I'm out. Peace.